Hello, welcome back to Dry Creek Beekeeping. It's finally summer here, and it really actually shouldn't be summer. We are hitting record high temperatures currently with temperatures of 95 degrees Fahrenheit and over. Currently it's about 91 and I'm already starting to sweat in my bee suit even though I've only had it on for about 5 minutes. That's always the danger of beekeeping in weather like this, but kind of have to. But the good news is flowers are finally starting to bloom, and my goal here today is to check all my hives, make sure that they are doing well, and make sure that they're bringing in good nectar, they have good stores, and also that they aren't planning on swarming. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. I'm starting with the beta hive today because there's something else that I want to do with it. I want to replace the bottom super with a different colored one since right now I don't have a painted one. And if this extremely warm spell is anything to go by, they are definitely going to need a painted super once summer comes around. Holy cow, that is looking good. That is a heavy frame of drone brood, and then there's even some nectar stores that are being built over here and throughout this frame. This is just absolutely full of exactly what I'm looking for in a frame. Every single cell has something in it, whether it be pollen, nectar, or brood. That is just amazing. But they have started building back the queen cells, which means that they might be looking to swarm here pretty soon. Hopefully I can get ahead of that and I can make a split of this hive before that happens. But that's not going to be quite yet. I can't believe how much nectar that they've gotten in these just few days that it's been this hot. All right, it looks like we're getting over towards the edge of where they're laying brood. But this, they haven't filled in all with nectar, just the very outside bits. And then the centers have eggs, brood, and larvae in them. Even this frame that doesn't have as much comb on it is so heavy because they filled it with so much nectar. That's insane. And then these outer two frames have nothing on them. It has like a little bit here, but otherwise not much. So it's kind of interesting that they're looking to swarm when they aren't fully filling out these frames. All right, now I'm gonna move on to the bottom super, and I'm going to replace all of those frames into a new hive box. All right, so as you can see, this hive box isn't painted white, and I brought one with me that is painted white here, so that's what I'm gonna move them all to. Even these bottom frames are full of nectar. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but every single one of these is just full of nectar. Based on the amount of stores that I saw in there, the amount of nectar, I really don't think they will be needing the jar feeders anymore, so I'm just gonna take those off the hive. By the looks of it, next week I'm probably going to be having to not only split this hive, but also put a honey super on it because it is growing fast. It still has some frames that need to be filled out. It looks like there's 4 frames that need to be filled on the top brood box, and then probably just 3 frames in the bottom. And so that will tide them over until next week. And it doesn't look like they're really thinking about swarming. There's just some suggestions that they might be wanting to do that with those queen cells. All right, moving on now to the alpha hive. I'm hoping that I see more like what I saw there with the beta hive, but if you remember last week's video, that was not the case for this hive, in that it seems to be progressing really slowly. So I'm hoping that didn't like carry over to this week, but I don't know. All right, first look into the hive here. It looks like they have some burr comb at the top. All right, not a terrible start, but it's also not great. You can see they have some brood, some stores, and then they have some drone brood. And on this side, it's more of the same. What I really don't like to see is how little they have of everything. It seems like they are kind of still keeping the cluster more up here, which that's not great. I might have to rotate these boxes. This is a stronger frame, lots of brood, not a lot of nectar, but still they have enough nectar that I can probably get rid of the feeders for them too. I don't exactly want to rotate these boxes today. Eventually they'll go down, I'm sure, and I don't want to mess with them more than they need to be messed with. And right now they're more or less fine. Really, they have enough of the small amount of resources that they have that they'll be fine. And there are plenty of bees in that lower super, so I think they're starting to move down there. They're just a little bit slow, which this is a huge difference from last year. Last year it was the beta hive that was doing bad and the alpha hive that was doing really well. And now it's the other way around. But if I do make a split of this hive, I'm thinking at this point it'll probably be early June at the earliest. Now moving on to the Delta hive. It looks like they've drank all of their sugar water, which is good to see. Hopefully they won't be needing this feeder anymore, just like the previous 2 hives. But again, I don't know. Ooh, this is new about this hive. They've started sticking the frames together with propolis. They weren't doing this just the last time I checked on them 2 weeks ago. And they got some weird comb formations here. Not sure I like that, because if they start sticking these frames together, that's not good. But they do have some good nectar stores here, which actually kind of surprised. They really seem to be favoring the right half of this hive. That is a lot of brood. Holy cow. And that is a lot of pollen. They are stocking up on that pollen. My gosh. And they are producing some drone brood, just like randomly. It's kind of interesting. More of the same. Really good nectar stores, and then good brood. I think since they seem to be favoring this half of the hive over here, I think I'm going to move this half of the hive over. So, as you can see, all of these frames, these 4 outer ones, they have nothing on them. Nothing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this center bit and scooch it over towards the middle, and then place these frames in back around it. And I'm hoping this allows them to grow more evenly, so that way there isn't a struggle later with me wanting them to grow, and they're just not doing it because they're favoring one half of the hive. At least that's the hope. For now, I am going to put the feeder back onto the hive, and I'll probably just remove that sometime in the next couple of weeks. It'll probably be 2 weeks before I check on this hive again. So to recap what I did and what I saw in this video, with the beta hive, I switched out one of the brood boxes so that it was actually painted white, so that way when summer rolls around, they will be more protected from the heat. And I saw some really good things with the beta hive. It seems like within the next week or two, I'm going to need to be adding a honey super and splitting the hive. With the alpha hive, they weren't doing as well. They have okay brood. They don't have great stores, but they had enough that I could remove the feeder. And it doesn't really seem like they're going down into that bottom brood box. But I'm just going to leave them alone for the time being, and hopefully they figure everything out on their own. With the Delta hive, which is the most recent hive that I've put in, they're doing well. They have good brood, they have good stores. I haven't gotten rid of the feeder yet. In 2 weeks, I'm going to check on the Delta hive again, and I'm probably going to get rid of the feeder, and I'm actually really confident in all of my hives this year, which isn't really something that I'm used to. I'd say the weakest hive right now is the alpha hive, because they're just kind of being a bit slow. But given that the alpha hive is still doing quite well, and they are the one that I'm least confident about, that says really good things. Anyway, thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.